how to become free from the anxiety that is caused by chasing desire and pleasure. So this calls for us to take a deep dive into the nature of both pleasure and desire. And we'll start from the top down. And when we look at the nature of chasing anything, we've heard ideas from ancient times or biblical whatever, where it's treat others how you want to be treated. So there's something there in terms of reciprocity, and you attract what you put out. So now I'm going to say something which is interesting, and that is when you chase, you actually lower the likelihood of receiving. So I'm basically contradicting myself, right? But where the clarity comes is in the details, the nuance. And that means that the energy behind chasing is an energy of scarcity, an energy of not having. So although it seems like you're working for what you want, you should attract it. If you're working in a way where the energy, the inspiration, the fuel behind your work is coming from a lack, a place of scarcity, a place of not having, then you're attracting more of that scarcity. Even though you might be working at something, we're talking about where you're actually coming from internally. The simplest way to put it is, where's the fuel coming from? Are you fueling your business endeavors because you hate others and you want to be better than them, right? That's not the same energy as, it's not the same fuel as going all in on your business endeavors, understanding that business is a lever for creating abundance, right? It feels a lot different, because then you pull that business lever, you're rooted in abundance, and then you're actually rooted in this energy of, I'm going to build myself so that I can give back. I'm not chasing wealth. I'm not chasing the growth of business from scarcity, from not having, from, I need to get rich. I'm building a business with intention through the root of abundance, understanding that when I grow this business, it's going to challenge me, therefore I'm going to evolve. I can bring others up with me, and the business can create physical, materialistic wealth that can be spread around. So I know I didn't touch too much on pleasure and desire right there, but I wanted to go top down and give you the context of what it means to come from a certain energy, because that place of our fuel, it matters a lot when we look into pleasure and desire, because it's not exactly the thing itself which matters, the pleasure, the desire, the form in which it is, but our relationship to the thing. So what I'm saying here is there are some habits, some things that I do that I may not recommend, like to the average Joe to do, but my relationship to certain actions, if it's coming from an energy which is not like an addiction, a scarce energy, a need, and it's just sort of something that you realize when you look big picture, you understand the nature of the action, and you just study, you investigate, you inquire upon what is happening inside of you when you are interacting, when you are even thinking about a pleasure or desire. Like, to study how your mind is working when you even get on that topic. Now, that's what this is about, because I am not saying that you can't, you will, everyone will have pleasures and desires in life, but where they become diabolical is when you subtly become attached and addicted to certain pleasures and desires without understanding the nature of what it is, what's occurring within yourself in relation to the pleasure or desire itself. So it's not that you have to be perfect, but just to go deeper into what is actually occurring within you in relationship to the thing.
Yeah, I feel you touched on many, many good points here. Let me pick out the paradox of, oh, wait, when I chase it, I don't get it. This is so weird. I need to attract it, also especially in business. And for instance, when we take, I feel this is easier to understand when we go in nature. For instance, let's say you have a garden and you'd like to attract butterflies, birds, more wildlife. And let's go to this analogy. You can do two things. You can either go chase them and try to make them stay in your garden, which sounds like a lot of hard work, and I'm pretty sure the butterflies and the birds don't like it, and they won't stay and immediately go away the moment you set them free. Or the lazy and beautiful way, which is intended by nature, I would say, is build a garden that simply attracts them. So you have lots of corners that they love, lots of wild growth going on, food for them, and then you don't need to do anything else and just maintain the wilderness of your garden, and then wildlife will come. And even this in itself is like the lazy way, because a wild garden doesn't need that much maintenance. So you see, this chasing thing, I have the feeling, is coming out of the ego, that's attaching too much outer importance or too much importance on outside things, like, oh, I need to do something, I need to put a lot of energy in to reach my goal, I need to force myself. And this in itself creates a lot of tension for everyone involved. Whereas the other way of going with the flow and creating an environment that they love and then get attracted to is the flowing way and the much more harmonious way. And when we take this now to the business side, it's exactly the same. You can go out there, chase people, try to make them buy your product or service. This sounds like a lot of hard work. Or you can build something where when they see it, they'll be like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for my entire life. I'm so glad you built this. Or I'm so glad you offer this. Like the butterflies, they're like, oh, finally, someone has a wild garden. And then they come. And then, of course, they tell their peers and their friends. I don't know how well the communication between butterflies works, but you know what I mean. When you have one, then more will come. And the same for customers. When one customer loves your product, well, what do? They go to their friends and they be like, oh, I love the product. I love the service. It has changed my life. It has made things easier. And then it spreads. And so this is kind of like the harmonious way that also is offered by the universe itself. It's like a default that we have available to get beautiful results without burning ourselves out due to the ego's idea of, oh, I have to put in so much work, or I have to chase because I have desires.
And see, the whole essence that embodies how we see things is that you can get the things that you want, but there is a big difference between forcing and grinding toward things that you want and naturally attracting due to intentional, holistic living. So intention, the holistic, and the lifestyle, those are three important words that are packed with depth. And it really is valuable when we just zoom out a little bit, and easier said than done, right? The nature of the ego, Justin, Myra, whatever your name is, the nature of the ego is that it's self-centered. It's like so self-centered and tunnel visioned and small-minded. And of course, we can evolve that ego to see more holistically, to consider more variables, and to realize the fact of the matter is that this materialistic reality was created by something so intelligent, so much more intelligent than the ego. And if we can find a way to communicate, to tap into that intelligence, that's what I'm hinting at when I say that we have certain fuels and certain energies, right? You can just feel it. Like, I don't need to give you proof for this. Every single one of you have felt this in your life, where there are certain moods and vibes and energies and in places in which your fuel is sourced. And when you're building something, when you're going after your wants, you got to go after them in a way where you're not chasing them, where you are living in alignment with what feels right, and therefore you are just doing the thing, you're playing the game, and you're attracting. Because when you're attracting and not chasing, it's so much different. Attraction is abundant, and then the chasing is scarce. And I mean, no matter how hard people grind, no matter how many hours they work, if it's coming from scarcity, it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be a lot harder. And see, when Myra used the word lazy, I used to label myself lazy, but then I switched it to focused on efficiency because it just sounds better, right? There's an energy behind each word. And I used to call myself, I'm a lazy cook, but now I'm just like, I'm a cook focused on efficiency. I care about my nutrition. I care about getting the Lambo, whatever. Not a Lambo specifically, but my point is, like, you can do all the things, you can fulfill your desires, but you got to make sure that you're not living in a way where you're addicted to chasing pleasure. And maybe another topic, something for us to go into down the road, is a relationship to delaying gratification and chasing instant gratification. That's a bit more physiological, but I digress. If there was something that you found extremely valuable, I'd love to hear what was the most valuable thing. Let me know. If you're on the podcast, share it with a friend and drop a rating, whatever platform you're on. It takes 5 seconds. I appreciate that, more than appreciate it. And lastly, so 2 things. If you're interested in hearing more about what Myra does, what her services or products and her offers are, shoot her a DM on Twitter. Link will be below in description. Same goes on my end. If you would like to apply for a free breakthrough session, all you have to do, all of my Twitter link below, shoot me a DM, quote, all caps, new me. And in that breakthrough session, it'll be 60 minutes. So we'll start and we'll figure out where you're at right now and where you want to go. And if I can help you with that gap, I'll help you do that on that call. Second, this is building off of creating your direction, understanding that gap. Then we'll go into having like a clear action plan so you know exactly how to get to that place in which we clarify in step number 1. And third, we'll get clear on anything that's slowing you down, preventing you from getting where you want to go. So if you're interested in that, quote, all caps, new me, shoot me a DM. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Myra appreciates you sincerely. Have a wonderful day.